Many Nigerian workers have expressed growing frustration having to survive the current economic hardship. Some spoke to News Central during the Workers' Day celebration in Abuja, saying rising inflation has made survival quite difficult. My colleague, Marvelous Obomanu, tells us more.
This is the first Workers' Day celebration under President Bola Tinubu. The day is usually set aside by workers to review their working conditions, wages, and appraise their professional development. It is a mixed feeling for some workers who are celebrating their big day amidst burning national issues.
The salary doesn't go anywhere. It's only God. It's only God. So we keep praying all the time. You understand me? So if God touch their mind, they will do well for us.
The expectations are high. Please, as a worker, we are begging that the government should work heavy on the inflation rate. The inflation is so high that it's affecting civil servants, which in return gives a negative output.
There are some workers here who had expected that the government will announce a new minimum wage. Sadly, that did not happen, and this has made some of them even more angry.
If you look at today, every member of workers are expecting that living wage to come out today, but unfortunately, we didn't get that pronouncement. We believe that the matter of days, that pronouncement will come after the committee has finished work. So we are expecting that within shortest time, between now and the end of this month or middle of this month, May, we are expecting the living wage.
Actually, we don't really have a reason to celebrate because we are waiting to hear about our living wage, according to our president, our living wage. So we are waiting, we are eager to hear about this living wage. We are tired, we are confused. This is our country, we want to stay in our country to enjoy what is happening. But things are very rough.
In all honesty, I'm not really glad today that the new minimum wage isn't announced, because over the years, it's been a while that the salary has been increased, but things kept rising in the market. The inflation rate is something else.
Organized labor unions have been in the forefront fighting for workers' rights and the improvement of their welfare.
Wages are sacrosanct to workers. Workers cannot be productive if they don't have decent wages. The Nigerian worker of today lives more or less like a destitute on salaries that cannot even take them to the office.
The big question on the lips of many Nigerians is, what will be an acceptable living wage for Nigerian workers that will take care of their needs?
The new minimum wage should be something realistic, because we all know states' capability differs. They shouldn't give us minimum wage that it will be impossible for other states to be able to cope with. But at least we expect something very good and fantastic from the federal government.
It is expected that once the new minimum wage committee wraps up with their job, there will be an announcement of a new minimum wage. And once this happens, Nigerian workers will have a reason to go to work with smiles on their faces. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomanu.
Not the expected announcement, but the federal government has said although the tripartite committee on national minimum wage has yet to conclude its negotiations, workers will not lose anything as the new minimum wage will take effect on May 1, 2024. Minister of State Labor, Nkiruka Onyegocha, stated this on Wednesday while addressing Nigerian workers at the May Day celebration in Abuja. She said it is regrettable that the new national minimum wage is not ready before today, but that wide consultation is ongoing to ensure that the document is out together as soon as possible. Joining us on the news. Okay, I don't think we have this guest available at the moment. We will come back much later if we can and have the conversation on the new minimum wage and Nigerians' expectations. But in the meantime, we can tell you that experts are calling on the Nigerian government to take measures to stabilize the country's currency. The naira for the citizenry to be happy. This was made known when thousands of workers gathered at the Ramat Square in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, to commemorate this year's May Day, otherwise known as Workers' Day. News Centre's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
Colorful parade showcasing the rich diversity of the Nigerian workforce in Borno State. One of the key messages that emerged during the speeches was the recognition of the resilience and dedication of workers, particularly in the face of the various challenges the country is facing. Hike in food prices, rent, school fees, transport fares are some of the major challenges Nigerians battle with.
As at this moment, there are some pensioners who are still receiving 4,000 naira as a pension per month, which is grossly inadequate. The library pray for His Excellency's intervention for upward review of their monthly pension.
NLC today will remain vibrant, useful to the teeming populace of Nigerian workers if they should come down and put their house in order.
As workers in Nigeria, Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress must demand from the federal government, without considering market sensitivity of the Nigerian government, put the people first, not profit. Keep crude oil to Dangote refinery at discounted rate for them to refine and supply domestic market.
Suggestions were put forth to the Nigerian government to unlock pathways for ease of survival in the country.
Once crudes are given at discounted rate, the price of petroleum product will come down, and every difficulty that is being faced by average worker or an income earner is associated with increase in the price of petroleum resources.
Although the Nigerian government is yet to announce its official stance on this proposal, however, it is clear that finding a balance between stabilizing the naira and supporting the local economy remains a significant challenge for policymakers.
This will no doubt danger us to do even more to our workers. In this regard, I urge all civil servants to key into our transformation agenda.
The Workers' Day have come and gone, but Nigerians remain hopeful as they look to the government to address their concerns and take necessary steps to alleviate the burden of rising fuel costs, among others. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umar Kirawa.
Thank you, Umar. Workers in Abia State have threatened to show a showdown, with the state government if it fails to make their welfare a priority. The state chairman of Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Ogbonnaya Okoro, gave this warning while presenting his address during the Workers' Day celebration at the Umuahia Township Stadium. Chinwe Ugele, who was at the event, reports.
Cheerfully, the workers gathered in an annual ritual to celebrate and officially present all their challenges to the governor. There were a plethora of problems listed by the state chairman of the NLC, Comrade Ogbonnaya Okoro, for the government's intervention.
Workers in the following agencies of the government are being owed salaries arrears as follows. HMB, 15 months arrears of salary. Abia State Teaching Youth Hospital, 21 months arrears of salary. Arochukwu College of Education, 22 months of arrears of salary. Abia Poly, 33 months arrears of salary. ABSU, 11 months arrears of salary.
In his response, the governor pointed out that the problems mentioned were not incurred by his administration.
Another word I have for the NLC is that next time when people are owing you should speak out.
The chairman urges the governor to reduce the hardship experienced by the workers by ensuring that their demands are met.
The Congress wishes to appeal to our dear and dynamic governor to look inward with a view to reducing the suffering of these workers. If this condition persists, organized labor in the state will not further guarantee the industrial peace in these sectors.
Governor Oti, who was expected by the workers to make policy statements concerning their welfare at the event, only gave assurances.
I've also taken note of your request on wage awards, and we are going to look into it expeditiously.
The workers interviewed earlier in the day say they were hopeful that the government will pay heed to their demands.
You know, having seen what the governor of Abia, Dr. Escalate, what he has done so far, you, the pressmen, will also agree with me that in Abia, there is hope for the workers.
And in the area of wage award and others, we are still hopeful, as other states are doing, that the governor will today make a pronouncement that will favor the Abia workers.
It is not yet to hurry. We are expecting that beyond now, there is going to be a lot of improvement. Actually, we are expecting that today, the governor is going to probably unfold some packages he has for the workers.
At the end of the event, it was not clear if the governor said what the workers wanted to hear. In Umuahia Central, Chinwe Ugili.
Nigeria's House of Representatives has called on citizens to remain calm and not resolve to panic buying of petrol, as the challenges responsible for the long queues being witnessed in many petrol stations across the country have been resolved. The chairman of the House Committee on Petroleum Resources, Midstream and Downstream, gave the assurance while briefing newsmen in the nation's capital, Abuja, saying that its investigation to provide a solution to the situation confirms there is currently adequate supply of the product. Adong Joseph reports.
The press briefing was called by some members of the House of Representatives.
On behalf of the House of Representatives,
the chairman of the House Committee on Petroleum Resources, Midstream and Downstream, says that the House engaged with relevant stakeholders and that the issues responsible for the scarcity of petrol are currently being resolved.
We have in the last few days reached out to stakeholders in the petroleum distribution value chain, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NNDPRA, the Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, and the Transport Workers Union, to mention but a few. We have engaged extensively with them with a view to ascertaining the cause of the resurgence of fuel queues in petrol stations across the country.
While expressing concerns, the committee frowned at the activities of middlemen taking advantage of the situation and assured Nigerians that the logistical challenges have been resolved.
The challenges that caused the destruction was the logistic issue, and that has been handled with the maritime shuttle vessels as we speak.
The lawmakers also urged the Nigerians not to engage in panic buying.
As a country, we have a storage of over 1.5 billion liters, which can be last for at least over 30 days. More products are arriving, and more products are on the high sea.
Obviously, it will take a few more days for things to return back to normalcy. Therefore, we call on Nigerians not to panic over these developments. We have, like we said before, gotten assurances from the regulators and the unions that these challenges will be cleared in a few days. It will require more time, like 2 or 3 days, for product to be distributed to all stations nationwide.
It is almost a week now since the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited claimed that the issues causing the queues have been resolved. But yet, the queues are still there. And with the House of Representatives giving the same assurance, all that Nigerians will be hoping is that in a few days, they can walk freely into petrol stations and buy products without stress. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonku Joseph.
Thank you for staying with us. Commuters in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja, and other cities across Nigeria have bemoaned the hike in transportation fares owing to the current fuel scarcity. Queues have worsened in many filling stations across the country, with Abuja as one of the worst hit areas. While some motorists were lucky to get fuel at some retail outlets for between 700 and 1,200 naira per litre, after hours of squabbles, others were not so lucky, as many retail outlets were shut, with their excuses being supply challenges. I'm now joined by an electric vehicle expert and entrepreneur, and also the CEO Sajlev Electro Mobility Company, Dr. Sam Benga Falaye, to discuss the country's over-reliance on petrol and the need to explore other alternatives. Thank you very much, Doctor, for speaking with us. First off, this situation we are in, was it avoidable in your view?
Thank you very much for having me. Well, it's a complex situation. I am not a political expert or petroleum expert, but if you are talking specifically about the fuel scarcity situation, I'm sure that there will be morning quarterbacks that would look and say, well, this should have been done, that should have been done. But obviously, we have had a lot of infrastructural challenges, a lot of supply challenges, and as a country, we produce petroleum but do not actually have a refining capacity. So all of this must have added up to cause this problem. So therefore, it could have been avoided, but we've had a lot of myriad of problems. So, but I'm not a petroleum expert, but
all right, let's go to your area of expertise and explore your thoughts on options other than our over-reliance on petrol, maybe electric-powered vehicle, for instance. Talk to us about our options.
Well, so electric vehicles are obvious solutions to the problems we have. The quick example I'd like to give is that the amount of fuel, of course, you used in mass transit, and I'm going to focus on mass transit and ride-hailing, for example. I always tell people, if you have 300 trucks in a state BRT program, a mass transit program, you are basically running over 300 generators for 20 hours a day. Whereas if these buses are electric, what you are doing is charging the buses for 3 to 4 hours, and you are running 300 buses. So you can imagine that you're already looking at well over 80% savings in amount of diesel. So that is the kind of impact that electric vehicles can make. Another example, the typical rideshare customer can save well over 80% on the cost of power just by using an electric vehicle. The other thing I like to say is that there is a myth that electric vehicles are tremendously more expensive. Well, if you are looking at a luxury, high-end luxury vehicle, yes. Internal combustion engine vehicles are also very expensive when they are luxury, but when they are utility vehicles like rideshare vehicles and smaller, these vehicles are very affordable. So that is a myth, and electric vehicles form a very viable option for us, no doubt about it.
Okay. Do we actually have the right infrastructure? I mean, I've only ever seen one electric station in Lagos. While I know there are more, it does sort of validate the question about preparedness. If you talk about petrol, we have petrol stations all over the place, doesn't it?
Well, that may be true, but again, we have to consider the fact that if you look in North America, if you look in China, 70% of electric vehicle charging actually happens at home. So, and that is going to be the case in Nigeria. 70% of electric vehicle charging will happen at home. The rest of it for mass transit is going to be at the bus depot. All of this, for instance, in our situation, we have a charging plan. Mass transit buses are already going to have the DC chargers available. We already have, for example, at Mega Plaza, a plan where we are incrementally installing up to 50 or even more level 2 electric car chargers. And this will be replicated in other locations. So the level 2 infrastructure is not difficult to put in at all. So, and this will start inside the cities, and then we will spread in inter-city, and then we will go to interstate. Again, the government is really responsible for doing this infrastructure, but we have taken it upon ourselves in order to advance electric vehicle or electromobility. We are committing to, putting in an electric charging infrastructure. So yes, in fact, 70% to 80% of people are going to charge at home. So the infrastructure itself is not as difficult as it might seem to implement.
Okay, even if that is out of the way, what about affordability? That's Nigeria. You heard the conversations we've had so far about, minimum wage and other issues. Will it be affordable for the ordinary Nigerian, or it will trickle down over time?
Well, I would say the cars are affordable when you compare the fact that, and I don't want to turn your program, your news program, into an infomercial, but some of the most popular vehicles we have today, small, full size, and also small hatchback, we have equivalent cars that are probably, say, 70% of the cost of the internal combustion vehicle. Now, you're not going to be able to, or I'm not going to be able to compete with a used Tokumbo vehicle, so to speak. However, where I beat those vehicles is that the cost of maintenance for electric vehicles are usually 50 to 60% less than internal combustion vehicles. So the total cost of ownership, say at year 3, year 4, is lower, and actually that cost equals internal combustion car by month 11, 12. So this is actually a little bit of a myth that electric vehicles are, more or less affordable. That is actually, when you look at the entire data, is really not the case.
All right. I guess the conversation is open to further exploration, but we'll have to leave it for now. Thank you very much for speaking with us. Nigerian workers celebrate May Day under the shadow of a week-long fuel scarcity crisis. The shortage has disrupted daily activities, sparking price hikes and fueling black market patronage, leading to long queues at gas stations. News Center's Adeshawa Udushoga reports.
You have the soldiers that come, they buy petrol, they put it in jerry cans, they sell it right in front of these people. It's ridiculous.
A viral video circulating online shows a fuel scarcity crisis in Lagos from 30 years ago. The scene, eerily similar to today. Nigerians wait patiently in fuel lines, the only difference being the significantly higher price per litre. Motorists express frustration, especially with reports of stations outside Lagos selling fuel for as much as 1,000 naira per litre.
This May Day falls amidst a heat wave, an unreliable electricity supply, rising inflation, and now fuel scarcity. A perfect storm for a dampened holiday spirit.
This is a situation whereby there is nothing we can do. Are you getting that? We need fuel. We're supposed to be at home, be relaxing. But simply because we did not get it on time. That's the reason why you can see that we came here to come and queue.
They should have ended this like many years ago, dropped down the price. I mean, we're producing, what's it called? We're producing here. Why are we not having access to it? We have crude oil. What's our problem?
Government is trying their best, but we can still do a lot better in terms of putting our refinery in good position. We learned that Port Harcourt refinery has been done, but we are not yet seeing the output in terms of production outside there.
Throwing light on the scarcity of the commodity across the nation, the Public Relations Officer of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chinedu Kadike, said it has become a bit of a challenge to source the product because most refineries in Europe are undergoing turnaround maintenance.
The NNPCL should, in all this way, since they say that the vessels have arrived, and anyone from now, fuel will be pushed down and everywhere will have products. So we are ready, our trucks are there to load. And once loading starts, you will see that we will swing into actions. Products will be everywhere.
This marks the second major fuel crisis under the President Bola Tinubu administration since the removal of petrol subsidies, which caused a significant rise in commodity prices. Nigerians hope for a swift resolution to the crisis and a return to normalcy. In Lagos, for News Central, Adeshewa Odushoga.
The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has announced the release of the 2024 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination results. JAMB Registrar Professor Isaac Oloyede made the announcement during a press conference in Abuja. He explained that out of the 1.9 million candidates who registered for the exam, over 1.9 million sat for it, while 80,810 were absent. However, he noted that the board is withholding the results of 64,624 candidates for further investigation. Professor Oloyede advised candidates to check their results by sending UTME results to either 55019 or 66019 via SMS starting today. To discuss this, I'm joined by education researcher Peter Ugdoro. Thank you very much, Doctor, for speaking with us. How do you appraise the results just released by JAMB?
Well, this appears scandalous for us as a country because about 76% of the candidates who wrote the exam couldn't earn up to average mark, meaning 50%, which is very unfortunate, it's scandalous. We shouldn't be operating at this level. And again, on the other side of the spectrum, not even up to 1% of the candidates could score up to 75% in the test. We know that similar tests in other countries around the world, for example, in the US, with respect to SAT, sometimes you find thousands of candidates earning perfect scores, meaning out of the 1,600 that is available, you find many who earn the full 1,600. But in our country, 76%, not earning up to 200 when the maximum score is 400, is something that is worrisome. This is not where we're supposed to be.
How was the number of absent candidates, 80,000, over 80,000 in the 2024 JAMB UTME compared to previous years?
Well, that might have a lot to do with poverty, because the way JAMB runs the system now makes it difficult for some candidates who come from poor homes to access the exam center. So you find the situation where somebody who lives, for example, in the case of Lagos, who lives in Lekki, is required to go to Ogun State, A4, Mowe to go and write the test. And so if he doesn't have an uncle or an auntie who can accommodate him overnight from where he can go and write the test, and the parents don't have the money to keep him in a hotel, you definitely will discover that such a candidate will be absent from the test. And sometimes even candidates arrive at the test centers and some things happen and they are not able to validate the claims being made by the candidate, and the candidate is not able to enter the examination hall as a result of problems associated with the processes of entering for the test itself. So many factors are responsible. Poverty is there, the technology being used, which students are still trying to understand, and a host of other factors.
Considering this release and those that didn't do so well, what would you suggest as an educationist for better performances from candidates?
Well, first we have to identify where the challenges are coming from. We know that some of the challenges are rooted in the way the board is conducting this exam. Those who wrote subjects like mathematics and physics, and those are critical subjects involving many of the candidates who wrote the exam. You find that they are not required to bring in any paper to do what you call rough work for such subjects. And so you have to be very, very smart to do everything mentally. And even in the advanced societies, that is not the case. And if the examiner is and the test board is not going to provide the papers with which they will do their calculations, then I think that it should be allowed under proper scrutiny to bring in their own papers to be able to do that. That's one. Again, what you find is that the average Nigerian child who has written this exam is an underdog when it comes to technology. Most of them have attended public schools in rural communities, and some of them haven't seen a laptop before. and suddenly you are insisting that they all have to use computers to demonstrate how much of these subjects they know. I think that that is not also a demonstration of fairness, equity, and justice in the examination process. So it may not completely reflect lack of knowledge, lack of understanding on the part of the candidates. It may just be the fact that they are not competent users of the computer, which has become the only mode through which this exam is written. But having acknowledged that, we also know that the quality of teaching going on in our classrooms across the country is very poor. Most of our teachers are teachers who don't have the right skills. The pedagogical approach they adopt to train our children is something that is definitely behind time. Most of them stop at just merely giving children knowledge. And with that, they might be able to write NECO and the WAEC exams and do fairly well in those ones. But WAEC exam, a JAMB exam requires a high level of understanding, and most of them lack this level of understanding and capacity to apply knowledge.
We still have a huge chunk to do when it comes to education. I know we've had this conversation in the past about the quality of teachers and attracting the quality of teachers that we require to the education sector. More work needs to be done. For now, we'll have to leave it. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
My pleasure.
As the conversation concerning the construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road continues, the Federal Minister of Works, David Umahi, has held a second meeting with stakeholders. At this meeting, it was stated that some stakeholders had started receiving compensation for their demolished structures, while others still expressed concerns about what would become theirs. Our correspondent, Bernard Kede, who has been following the story, files this report from the meeting.
Gathering of stakeholders directly or indirectly affected by the ongoing demolition from the creation of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. This is not the first such stakeholder meetings. However, at this one, there were certain differences. The Federal Minister of Works, David Umahi, accompanied by other government officials, signed the highway route at this meeting. He also assured stakeholders that the road would be in the best interest of Nigerians, after which he commenced the compensation process for some.
I signed the route technically today, the first day of May 2024, and I assure Nigerians that this route is for the best interest of Nigeria, and it will have along the corridor a lot of land for tourism we are talking about. I bless Mr. President, I bless our country, and it's my pleasure to unveil the new design route to the glory of God. I wish to flag off the compensation from Challenge 0 to Challenge 3 in a total sum of 2.75 billion.
Besides the businesses that will be affected by the construction, some community dwellers from Okwaja raised major concerns about the coastal highway cutting through their community. They requested that the minister redirect the highway to the former plan. But their claims were quickly countered by others from the same community who claimed the road was going through the right path.
The problem we have there, we have an original alignment inside our CFO when Bola Ahmed, one was the governor of Lagos State, give to the community. The alignment is there. We are now surprised how the commissioner now be taking the coastal road, diverting into the middle of the community. Then if the coastal road passes the community, it will wipe all the community away. Then he's claiming that 250 meters is from ocean, is government, it's federal government property. But the sea already have chopped more than 600 meters.
I want to show him how grateful we are that he has listened to our complaint and that a realignment has been done to an initial road, a wider road that for ages has been known as the coastal road. But there are some grievances that happen here today with the indigenes of the community, which they are claiming that they should take it back to the last alignment, which is going to affect majority of landlords there. And these same people are the ones that sold this land to us.
There were also those who were thankful, after much consideration, that the coastal road would eventually bypass their facilities and there will be no demolition.
It was last month that we had this type of meeting that I was here, and I said the only thing is that they should not defy in pay. And when they said checks are ready today, I was very happy, very, very. I don't know what they pay them, but at least compensation have started. And they said they are not going to stop until when everybody have received their own. I think that is commendable.
As the demolition of structures and compensation of affected persons have now commenced, the conversations have changed. All eyes will now be on the coastal highway, hoping the result will eventually be worth it. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
The news continues in East Africa, where dozens of tourists are stranded in Kenya's world-famous Masai Mara National Reserve after heavy rains caused the river to overflow, flooding lodges and camps. Local authorities estimate that nearly 100 tourists are affected. Torrential downpours linked to the El Nino weather pattern have battered much of East Africa, damaging infrastructure across Kenya. The flooding has cut off roads and bridges, making it difficult to reach those stranded in the reserve. The Kenya Red Cross has already airlifted over half of the 61 people rescued so far. Tourism Minister Alfred Mutua has warned tourist facilities near rivers to prepare for potential evacuations as the situation unfolds. Let's go back to our business desk for today's business stories.
Talking business tonight, a significant power outage has occurred in various areas of Johannesburg and South Africa due to underground cables catching fire on Tuesday midnight. Emergency services have been working to control the blaze since receiving the call. The M1 South and North Empire Road and the M2 have been temporarily closed while the fire is managed. The fire is believed to have been caused by cable theft. The extent of the damage to the cables will only be known once the fire is extinguished. Affected areas include Bramfontein, Pageview, Parktown, Melville, Amalgam, Vendredop, Johannesburg, and nearby locations. Johannesburg City Power is actively working to manage the situation along with other relevant departments. And to West Africa, the Central Bank of Nigeria has reaffirmed its use of the loan deposit ratio as a tool to control inflation. Dr. Adetona Adedeji, the CBN's acting director of the Banking Supervision Department, explained that the LDR is aimed at directing money flow into the real sector of the economy. While the LDR has been reduced from 65% to 50%, the CBN has also raised the monetary policy rates to reduce excess cash in circulation. Adedeji emphasized the inverse relationship between the LDR and the MPR, including the cash reserve ratio, stating that reducing the LDR helps control inflation. The CBN remains committed to fighting inflation and will prioritize tackling inflation before focusing on economic growth. The LDR is crucial in assessing banks' lending capacity, risk management, and financial stability. Now, Liberia's Director General of the Bureau of State Enterprises, Honorable Arthur Masakwe, received a visit from a World Bank delegation at his office in Monrovia. The discussion centered around establishing a sustainable and robust state-owned enterprise sector to address financial risks and prevent leakages. Masakwe highlighted the challenges and progress made by his administration, emphasizing the need for collaboration with the World Bank and other partners. The document was based on an assessment of 18 out of 46 SOEs conducted by the World Bank in 2023. The World Bank shared copies of the draft policy documents for review, and a working session with stakeholders, including international partners, is planned. And that's it on Business News. More stories will follow in a bit. Don't go away. I am Lekon Obanjo.
All right, let's go straight into entertainment. Now, in a groundbreaking achievement, Burna Boy has become the African artist with the highest grossing venue in the United States. His 2024 concert at the TD Garden Arena in Boston grossed over $1 million, surpassing his previous record set at the Madison Square Garden in 2022. This sold-out show was part of his I Told Them tour, which he has already earned over $11 million from 11, reported shows out of 22 planned stops. That's much. Now, Burna Boy's success reinforces his status as a global icon since his breakout with Ye in 2018. He has enjoyed unprecedented success, including 2 diamond-certified songs in France, On the Low and Last Last, and the first Nigerian album to receive a platinum plaque in France. That's the African giant. With 10 Grammy nominations, Burna Boy made history at the 66th Grammy Awards as the first African artist to perform at the main ceremony. His achievements continue to inspire musicians across Africa and beyond. Let's watch this. Big ups African giant. Now let's go international a bit. Now Glasgow Clyde College is offering a special one-off class for parents of Taylor Swift fans to familiarize themselves with Swift's music, fashion, hairstyle, and concert atmosphere. Now scheduled for May 7th at the Landslide campus, the class seems to help non-fans appreciate Swift's iconic moments and ensure a memorable concert experience alongside their superfan children, friends, or partners. Now led by the college curriculum assistant principal Robert Anderson, the free 90-minute class provides insights into Swift's music and concert experience, preparing attendees for the meticulous crafted gigs Swift's latest album, The Tortoise Poet Department. Now, recently dropped in UK charts with record-breaking first-week sales and includes reference to the Scottish band. Now, that's the Blue Nile. Now, Swift's upcoming concerts in Edinburgh are anticipated to be the largest stadium shows ever held in Scotland, with increased capacity at Murrayfield Stadium to accommodate 72,990 attendees. Now, despite tickets selling out quickly, resale sites facing criticism for inflated prices and police warning about online scams, the excitement surrounding Swift's concerts remains very, very high. Now, that's all we can take on entertainment tonight. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll quickly see what's trending. Don't go anywhere. All right, so moving away from all the entertainment conversations, the hashtag Workers Day takes center stage on our trending stories today, which occurs every 1st of May every year. For separate countries, Labor Day is celebrated on different dates, often one with special significance for the labor movement in that country. Labor Day is in many countries. So let's take a look at what some people are saying on social media. Well, our Nigerians, how they react. We'll read some tweets. Now, this is at Abubakar Mamed. They say, all types of work now work, Jare. Happy Workers' Day to every hustler out there. May God continue to butter our daily bread. Amen. Let's check another one. Let's see other conversations as it is. Now, this from at Peace Agbe. He said, may this International Labor and Workers' Day bring more renewed energy and motivation to pursue your goals with passion and dedication. Happy May Day. Workers' Day, hashtag teacher. Yes, teacher. Let's see, we have another one at OG Ray Sam. May all workers and laborers be recognized for their hard work and dedication and receive fair compensation for their efforts. Happy Workers' Day. Keyword, fair compensation. All right, let's check another one. This at Mu DJ Zoo. He said, May Day, a public holiday in Nigeria, was declared by President Shehu Shagari on 1st of May 1981, which was to become Workers' Day. Workers' Day was first recognized as a holiday in Nigeria in 1980 by the People's Redemption Party, PRP, government in Kano State. It took us back in history. I believe that makes sense. At least you can know, you could tell what happened on all that. Well, that's all we get on this conversation. You know how it is. You can share your thoughts as well across all our social media platforms at News Central TV. I am Avoidable, aka the Voice of God. That's all from me tonight.
And that's all tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Nigerian workers have marked Workers' Day amid petrol scarcity. New national minimum wage to take effect May 1. Minister of Works has met stakeholders, commenced compensation for Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road construction. We also brought you news that floods have left tourists stranded in Kenya's Masai Mara Reserve. Do send us your eyewitness reports to the number showing now on your screen. You can also follow us on all socials at News Central TV. We're live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. As always, thank you very much for your time. Have a good night.